Hey everybody, welcome back to Prince's Friend, exploring music through Prince. Today we have an amazing guest that I can't wait to talk to. His name is Joshua Welton. Thank you for being here,
Hello,
Joshua.
hello. Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this. My wife and I, Hannah, we've been looking forward to this. So I just look forward to just having a good conversation with you. What's going on, everybody?
And obviously, if you don't know Joshua, I don't know how you wouldn't if you're on this channel. But if you don't know him,
Mhm.
he did some production work with Prince. He's also married to Hannah, who is the drummer for Third Eye Girl, Prince and Third Eye Girl. You are a fixture in the purple community, as far as I'm concerned. I
Indeed.
actually have some like more fun questions and stuff that we can get into in a bit. But really, I see your shirt. I want to start up
Yeah,
front with the big stuff.
let's
You know what I
do it.
mean? So
I'm excited. Let's do
let's
it, man.
talk Purple Movement. Tell my
Yeah.
audience, what is the Purple Movement?
Well, first of all, shout out to Aloy, and I'm just so grateful for Prince's Friend and just all the work that you've done over the years. So thank you very much. I know that Prince loves, and I speak in present tense, but I know that he loves his fans, and that while he was here on the earth, he truly loved his fans. And so I'm just so blessed to be able to speak to you guys and just talk about what's going on in our lives today. But as we talked about the Purple Movement, man, it actually came to my heart about a couple years ago, after Prince had transitioned to be with God, as I like to say. You know, I was watching a Democratic and Republican debate with Hannah, and I thought to myself, like, why are they yelling at each other? Why are they fighting? And my mother, she is queen advocate. If you see two different sides, she's saying, I hear your side, I hear your side. How can we come together? So naturally, I started to think that way. I'm very close with both my mother and my father. And man, I'm telling you, I sat there and I thought, okay, what can we do to unite? How can we bring it together? And as soon as I started to think about
Yeah.
those things, thoughts like one nation under God, and I'm just thinking one what, one, and one flag came up. And as I started thinking about the flag, I said, okay, so what would happen if you were to merge the colors red, white, and blue? What would that make? And it just so happened
Mm.
to make purple. And as soon as I saw it, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't put the purple correlation together because when I talked to Prince, I didn't think, hey, purple, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Purple
Right.
rain, of course, but I never talked to him like that. That was never a thing. So I didn't necessarily
Yeah.
completely, and it had already been a couple years, and so it wasn't like every day Prince this, Prince that thing. And so as I was thinking, and then it was like 2 weeks later, my pastor at the time said to me, "Oh yeah, purple, purple, purple rain," and I was like, oh my gosh. And it all the more clicked. But the purple movement really started from me watching an argument. And I was like, how can we come together, hear both sides, and merge and reconcile? Because obviously it's either you're for me or against me mentality is only going to keep us divided. So that's really where it
Yeah.
came from and where it started.
And you guys are going out into the protests. I saw some live videos that you guys were doing. So you're like bringing water and you're like handing out information. Like, what's the mission statement? What are the goals of the Purple Movement?
Well, what's great about we have these flyers we've been handing out, and we've literally sent out thousands across the country and the globe because we have ambassadors who are bold people, brave people who are literally going out into the communities and spreading some purple love. And what the Purple Movement is, it says it right here: the Purple Movement petitions and creates policy to harmonize humanity. So what we're about is about approaching change in a way that actually goes straight to legislators in an intelligent way. It's about really trying to make what we're trying to do very clear, presenting it to the world on our home page. We have three different policies, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but we have three different
Mm.
policies that we are trying our best to be as clear as possible. They're under 4-minute videos, so really clear, but it's about presenting policies of real change, but it's about bringing together, harmonizing humanity. So that's really the goal. The goal is to actually make change in policy, make change in legislation, and reconcile the nation, whether it be from government to the citizens or from citizens to the government, whatever way it goes. But I just think that that's what we're about: reconciliation.
So you said that there's three major points, and
Yes.
then you're teaching me here too. So tell me what are the three major points that the Purple Movement is pushing for here?
So right now we have three different policies. Now this is just the beginning. We're here to stay. We're not just going to be here today, gone tomorrow. We're not a trendy thing. You know what I mean? But we have three different policies that we're pushing. The first one is on police conduct. The second one is about empowering the voice of the community, and the third one is about enforcing diversity. So, and it's called the racial ratio. That's the third one. The second one is called the Great Conversation. The first one is called police conduct. And the less than 4 minute videos on the homepage at thepurplemovement.org. And when you go there, you're able to see it. And then there's three petitions to sign right under it. And right now, the goal is to bring about the awareness of the Purple Movement, understand that it's about reconciliation, because you're going to see those underlining principles in every single policy that we present. And we have a golden rule book or a purple rule book about every policy. We want it for purple. We want it to be preventative. That's P. U. We want it to bring unity. R, we want the policies to bring reconciliation. And then P, we want it to be this word probity, which simply means strict honesty and integrity. So we want integrity, accountability in our policy. L is for love, because we're dealing with people. And then E is for equality. So we literally, every policy that we present, we want those underlining guidelines to be a part of the policies. And so that's what we're presenting to the world in those three just in the beginning.
I love it. And you guys are pushing that purple branding. I love it. Like you guys probably had to go to the thesaurus for that. Like
it's important for things to be memorable. We want this to be a part of an everyday life. Yeah. We don't want to just try to bring 1,000 new things. You know, we want to keep it consistent. You know what I mean?
Most definitely. So it's interesting because leading up to, this kind of conversation that we're having now,
yes.
As much as like a week or two ago, I kept getting questions of, I heard Joshua Welton was in Minneapolis. What is he doing? Something what was he doing? So like people were eyeing you and already knew you were doing something. Is the Purple Movement, is that in conjunction with the estate, or is this something separate that you're mostly heading up?
Well, I have not had any conversations with the estate or correlations with the estate. As far as it being Prince related, we haven't necessarily, like I said, had conversations with the estate, but we did have conversations with Prince, not necessarily about the Purple Movement, but about the principles of the Purple Movement. Obviously, love being one of the aspects, is love for one another. Him and I obviously had more than just musical conversations over the course of the years that we were together. And one of the bigger things that we talked about, the idea of love, justice. We were on the front lines with him, with my wife in Baltimore during the Freddie Gray incident. And I obviously was a part of the song Baltimore. I keep saying the word obviously, but it's just because I was there. So I apologize. I don't mean to sound whatever, but that was during our time. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I might be saying that.
Well, very cool. So do you have any like interesting stories? Because I know that you're going out like every weekend. You're going out, a lot on the front lines. Do you have any stories to share from the front lines? Like, are you seeing that the Purple Movement is making like tangible difference even today, even though it's still very young?
It's very young. We've had the just fortunate opportunity. I mean, yesterday we were interviewed on Fox 9, which is the Minneapolis news station, and just getting some great response when we went out there and we handed out so many of these flyers. I don't know exactly how many, but we handed out so many, and people were like, "Yo, keep going." People were saying things like, "Keep going," and "You're doing good," and "We need more of this." And when they see the bridge, they see the bridge and the logo, it's because it's about bringing together these sides, man. And I'm so passionate about that because I believe that we can really come together. I have so much hope. I don't care what anybody tells me. I'm convinced, I am fully persuaded that we can literally come together, and that the Purple Movement is a part of, just a medium, if you may, to come together. Like I said, it's about the red, white, and blue making purple. It's just about merging the ideas, not changing the flag, but merging ideas and concepts. But when we're out there, like I said, people are saying, "Keep going. You're doing something good. We need more of this. Tell me more about the policies and all that kind of stuff. So people are interested. I think that's the best word that I've been receiving, or that vibe I'm getting from people. They're interested, you know?
So is the end result here, like the end goal here, is that we're going to create this kind of swell from the people with using the purple movement, and then eventually the representatives of the purple movement would then sit down with legislators and be able to start enacting these as actual policy? Is that the end goal here?
I think if you think about it, kind of like an album,
Okay.
I think about the end goal being a little bit in a deeper way. You don't just want the song to finish the song. When you give somebody an album, you want it to be a part of their life. You want it to be a
Hmm.
soundtrack to who they are. I think more metaphorically, or just the principle of the purple movement, is really what I'm more so about. The idea of reconciliation, the state of mind when you create policy, because I'm one person. There are billions of people in this world. Imagine if we all thought that way in creating policy. I think that's really what we're wanting to
Yeah.
ingrain in the DNA and in the veins of politics, is this having all of those principles that I talked about being literally a force, because we're dealing with people, communities, lives, well-being, livelihood. So these are different things that I'm really hoping that the Purple Movement brings outside of just getting the policies that we are presenting. But yes, that is a part of the plan. But ultimately, we want people thinking more purple. I think that's really the bigger goal, and having more of a cultural impact than it is about policy.
Gotcha. No, 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 that makes perfect sense. Like, you want the purple movement to be such is such ingrained in people's minds and thinking that the policy then kind of writes itself. It's a basically.
Well, yes, yes. The purple movement, to me, if I think about the color purple in the current state of what we're experiencing, it's about sides. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's about the
most
empowerment of
definitely.
a side. And that's not what this is about. This is about saying, okay, the power in your side and the power in your side, how much more powerful will it be if we put our forces together and had some civil conversation? And that's what
Yeah.
happens in the CEA, which is our second policy. It's about coming together and hearing and empowering the voice of the people. So I think and also answering a part of the other question, yes, it's about empowering the numbers of people, because there's one thing if I go to a governor and I say, hey, man, I got 10 signatures. Now, depending on those signatures, that can mean something. But if I say, hey, I got 10,000, hey, I got 10 million, it's going to
Yeah.
change something. The power of the people coming together can really make change. And I believe it's happening. I believe it's going to happen. And I
Yes.
believe that there's a really bright future for not only America, but for the rest of the globe. Because purple, like I said, if we go
100%.
beyond
Yeah.
the nation of America, it could really be the ideology of policy and the platform that we're presenting that is going to be really effective.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that I've been. It's hard to say enjoying over the course of the change of what's happening, but just seeing that it's not even
Yes,
just a change that's happening here in the U.S. Like, we're seeing other countries are saying,
right.
"You wait, you're right. Wait, this is wrong." I I,
Right.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah. We want people to hear about what we're doing here,
Yeah.
and starting at home, with a Paisley Park is in your heart kind of thing. Starting with fellow individuals like yourself, who believe in the purple love in general, but then even outside of just Prince, because what he was about, even of himself, there was a time that I was in the car with him, and the paparazzi were just it was the first time that I experienced that level of paparazzi.
Yeah.
And they were against the car, the flashing of the lights, and he's like extremely calm in the car. And I said, "Woo, you famous?" And he said, "I know." and he's and then he said to me, he said, "That's not how I see myself." He said, "That's how they view me." And I
Yeah.
said, "Yeah, but you're famous though." That's what I
Yeah,
said.
exactly.
I know. I was like, "Yeah, but you're famous though." I said,
That's
and so,
exactly what
but
a
they,
famous person would say.
of course, of course. And so he kind of did like like his Prince little, like under his, laugh to himself thing. But the idea was he saw himself a certain way while
Yeah.
everybody else saw him another way. And so I just think that, it's so important that people actually see this for what it is,
Yeah.
and not try to suppose that it's something else. And that's what Prince was even about as well. And that's what it's that's why I would say if anything, it's a continuation of what we all believe in.
Yeah. So, and if people want to, I noticed that you mentioned ambassadors. So, if people want to
Yes.
become ambassadors, how do they do that? And what does
All
that
they got to
entail?
Okay, so an ambassador, I just sent out 10 more packages today. We've sent out thousands of flyers. So an ambassador comes is a person, a brave person, male or female, who says, "I want to be an ambassador on the field." And so what that simply means is they go to thepurplemovement.org/ambassador, and they fill out an ambassador application, and that just entails with their name and their mailing address. And
Hmm.
the Purple Movement ends up shipping them 100 of these flyers. They also get Purple Movement bracelets with the hashtag map. They also get 10 of these stickers. They also get face masks and much more, or just more, because we're not going to limit it to that. We're also going to be sending out door hangers because we've had to change the way that we approach things. So we're going to send out door hangers, and so I mean it's never going to stop. I mean we're here to stay, but we've literally sent out thousands of these things, not
Yeah.
purple packages, but of these flyers. So if you
Yeah.
want to be an ambassador, thepurplemovement.org/ambassador, fill out the application, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can, and we'll let you know when your package is on the way. But purple packages, man, it's all on the website, baby. We excited about this, man.
Definitely. And hashtag map, make America purple,
Yes,
right?
yes, make America purple, but it also has two different meanings because we have
Okay.
ambassadors in the UK, we have ambassadors in Scotland. In Belgium, we have ambassadors outside of the US. And so this is a global movement. If you look at the logo, it is a globe on the inside, and there's a bridge. And so it's about making the map purple. So if you break it down, make America purple or make the map purple, because these
Mm.
principles I'm telling you, we are expanding the principles of the purple movement. Definitely, without a question, go outside of the USA. Reconciliation, like we mentioned, property, unity, all of these different things, and the way that we present principles and policies, it's a global thing. It's hashtag map.
So I will definitely be sure to put a link to the Purple Movement in the description. Anybody who is interested in going and getting more information and possibly becoming an ambassador, definitely check the description for that.
Stay tuned. We're going to be putting out a song called Purple Everywhere. We're going to be hitting some more.
Ooh.
Yeah. Hannah's going to be singing on it. She's going to be drumming on it. I'm going to be on it. We're going to get some other musicians. So it's going to, woo, I'm excited about that. Yes, we're going to do music with the Purple Movement as well. So yeah, stay tuned. And we're about conversation. If you don't like something, talk to us. Let's work it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. So with that, I'm going to say definitely thank you for doing what it is that you're doing, because that's I think that is something that we need right now. And I know
Indeed.
that I've been having conversations with, my friends, and, a lot of my friends they kind of lean more towards me, but I do also have friends who lean the other way. And most of the conversations that we have are wonderful, even if we end up disagreeing. But the problem
Hmm.
is that what you can do on a one-to-one basis, that's just not carried out when you're talking about groups. And I feel like
Yes.
this purple movement is hopefully going to help start bridging that divide for larger numbers, hopefully.
Yes. Well, that's why I'm so grateful for you,
Yeah.
Eloy, for just allowing us to come on today and talk about what we're doing, and I just look forward to watching it back because I know it's going to, you're going to edit it the right way. It's going to be great.
Well, and I want to say a second thank you because the work that you did with Prince, like your production work and everything, uh
Hmm.
two of my favorite albums you were a co-producer on. Right.
Wow,
So
that's great.
Artificial Age, and as
Hmm.
far as I know, you co-produced Artificial Age, but you were in like mostly the producer on Hit and Run Phase 1. Is it, do I have that correct?
So, yes, but at the same time, I don't like when I say it is a co-production credit. That's
Hmm.
exactly what it is.
Hmm.
If I were to say that I was the mastermind in it, I would not be crediting myself correctly. There was
Mm.
only a couple tracks where he said to me, just go and have fun, and do what you
Okay.
want to do. So, but other than that, he gave me a canvas and he gave me the colors and he just told me draw a picture. So he gave me the instruments. And so I was able to work around his vision. And that's really what it was about. It was about collaborating where he could go and be upstairs while I made what he asked for. And so that's really the way that he kind of one taught me and then how we
Yeah.
worked together. But there were, like I said, a few different tracks where one of them was like Fall in Love Tonight, where he said, he gave me an acapella and he said, make whatever you feel. You know what I mean? That was that kind of
Nice.
thing. Yeah. Another one was Funk and Roll. He said, make what you feel. Um, what's another track? Oh, but at the very end, though, where it changes, I
Yep.
sent him
Yep.
like 4 or 5 different versions of that. And it wasn't until the last version that actually made the record was the one that we ended up keeping. And he was just all over that. That was when I tell you, when we went to places, he would put on that song like it was his only song he ever knew. I mean, it was such a privilege for me, but we used to rock out to that song. And we never did it live. He just played it. It's like
Yeah.
the way we used to play that thing. I mean, he would just turn it up in the beginning, and the 808s, because of would be in like arenas and different places, the bass would just, and he would just get so excited about that. So yeah, but a lot of these different songs was just him saying, "Hey, this is what I want," and so I go in there and I say, "All right, let's get it."
On this,
Also, Way Back
go
Home.
ahead.
That was another
Go
one.
ahead.
Way Back
And
Home.
also Way Back Home, that was one that he gave
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
he said to me, make me, he said, all right, Josh, I have a challenge for you. And I'm like, all right, what's going on? He said, I want you to make me 5 tracks. Now, I'm not just talking about, regular, cool tracks, like 5 actual tracks that you feel like, you know. And so I
Mhm.
was like, okay, cool, let's do it. And when he said that, I thought to myself, because my dad was called Joe Jackson growing up, because if I didn't practice, I was in trouble.
Mm,
So
mm.
5 tracks I was ready for that. And so I ended up giving him 10 tracks. And one of them was Way Back Home. And so that was a fun, cool thing.
That is awesome, especially since Way Back
Yeah.
Home is widely praised as like one of his best tracks that he ever did
Yeah.
off of that album, but like ever. Like everyone,
Yeah.
I've never met
Yeah.
anybody who didn't like Way Back Home. So you definitely hit it out of the park there with that
Well,
one, I would definitely say.
praise God, man, especially because when I heard him give me the track back, because I gave him the track and then he came back singing, or he gave me the vocals because he recorded himself in Studio A. And so he
Yeah.
gave me the track back to mix it. And when I heard him, like at the end, just go all the way in, and not even just the end, but just the lyrics, I was like,
Mm.
and I remember Donna's husband, Trevor, he was like, yo, like this is like, we all had chills. That's how every time we talked about that song, it was just
Yeah.
kind of like, yo, Way Back Home.
Now, specifically on that song, I have heard rumors that the beat uses part of Prince's heartbeat. Is that correct?
No, it is not. I think I think somebody asked me that on Twitter and misunderstood maybe my response, but that's not the truth. But I told this to my brother Jeremiah. I said, but we didn't lose anything because he put his heart on the track. I mean, we got
Mm,
nothing less. He literally,
mm.
like that song. And there's songs where I would ask him, like, what is that about? And sometimes he just would be like, I'll tell you later. Like it wasn't even like something that he would even want to re-talk about. So
Well, I thank you for clearing that up because honestly, I've
yeah.
listened to that song, and ever since I heard that, I keep listening for it, and I'm like, I don't hear it. But
Yeah, they're
that makes
thinking
sense
that
now
the
because
intro
it's
one.
not there.
Yeah, it's not there. Exactly.
Yeah, it's not actually there. So, I mean, it's
Hmm.
awesome to hear kind of, the back and forth, and it's interesting because I would have guessed Prince would have been maybe more of a micromanager when it comes to that sort of thing. So it's interesting to hear that really it was like, this is kind of what I want, see what you can do.
Well, yes.
Were there moments where he was micromanaging, or was it really kind of hands off the whole time?
Well, we went from critique to collaboration, I like to say, because in the beginning,
Okay.
in the beginning, I had to learn the Prince way. People talk about it. Anybody who's been in the Prince world, they know what that means. It's kind of like you get to know where and when and how, and it's a fluid thing. And so after
Yeah.
after a while, there was no such thing as a rough track. So anytime I would send him back something, it had to sound like it was complete. And so
Mm.
that was a phase that I went through where for a while I was sending him back records through Trevor and through Julia and through different managerial people. And then after a while, it was just back and forth with me and him. And he would just say, turn the voice up here, the kick up here, the snare up here. And I'm like, now I'm learning what he wants to listen to.
Yeah.
And so that turned, I didn't know that I was doing two jobs at once, because that turned into end up doing sound for him and doing sound checks for him and live shows. And then there were times, listen, brother, there were times in arenas. I remember we were in Paris. We were in an arena and I'm halfway away from the stage with, however many thousand in front of me. I'm playing the keys while doing sound with the delay. It was just bananas, man. And so,
Wow.
yeah. So when I can share this with you. I've never shared this with anybody, because this is, him and I's relationship was, it just felt more personal. He's not so glitzy, if you may, but
Yeah.
one time we were in Paris because the sound person was not doing what he wanted. I ended up going out there and readjusting and doing everything. And he pulled me back in between shows, because we were doing two shows. And he said to me, he said, if you weren't here, I'd be on a one-way ticket to Turks retiring.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That is
And
wow.
yes, he said that to me. And I was like, yo, you can't, I was like, cause the weight of the world just like hits you. And it's like, yo, like,
Yeah.
because he's so passionate, I'm sure it was just an emotional moment, because he can't not do
Yeah.
music. But
Yeah.
he was, when things don't work, he wants, because like I said, he loves his fans so much. He wanted you guys, us, because I'm a part of that, but he wanted us to hear the music the way he heard it, because
Yeah.
that was the best way he felt like it could be presented. He didn't want the sound to be off, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, or messed up where he had to strain to hear himself and all that kind of stuff. So it was passion that was talking. But when he said that to me, I just remember, like, just honestly, I give credit to God, man. I can't take credit for things like that, So,
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
a moment.
Some people would call that perfectionism. In my mind, it's not perfectionism, because Prince was never, he would never like, he, or from, I didn't know him personally, but just knowing like his catalog and his work ethic and everything, he'd be like, cool, that song's done. It's like, it might not be
Yeah,
perfect, but it's done, and that's the way that I want it to sound. And
right.
I actually always appreciated that. Like
Yeah,
there are those songs that, even if there's even songs that like I will listen to and then I'll be like, I don't know if I get this one. And then years later I'll come back and I'll be like, oh, I get it
yeah,
now. It's because
yeah,
he's like, he just was on another level when it came to music. It's crazy. Well,
yeah,
this is
yes.
something that I've always said. I've said it recently on this channel. We had a large conversation about artificial age and plectrum electrum. I don't know if you saw that conversation on the channel here. But one thing that I said, and I kind of want to get your thoughts on this, is I had said
Okay.
that artificial age and plectrum electrum was where I felt Prince was passing the baton of all of like his lessons and everything that he had to teach. Like Donna came out
Mm,
of that, and like you could barely tell his guitar solos from her guitar solos because they were on equal levels. Him and
wow.
Ida were just like amazing, both bass players. Hannah and the drums, same thing. And honestly, I would say with you and the production, I feel like he probably handed you down like so much just in that way. Did you
Mm,
feel that in the moment? Like I am, I am, I am like getting this man's like lessons here, and this is like an opportunity that nobody else ever may ever never get. You know what I mean?
yeah, during the process of being there, there were so many simultaneous lessons that were happening. It wasn't just music, it was life. It wasn't just life, it was growth and just
Yeah.
my personal life and marriage. There were just so many different, it was like a crash course. We called it Paisley University. But I would say yes. I would say that I was aware of the opportunity, and I honestly felt like that was a part of the reason why we were able to stay is because we revered him so much. We didn't get used to Prince. You know what I mean? We did,
Right.
but it wasn't in a sense where it felt like we didn't honor him anymore. And that's a big reason why we were quiet for 4 years after he transitioned, because he's more of a person to us than he was popular. And so
Yeah.
uh, and so at the end of it all, he said this. I think there was one time, I don't know if it was recorded on at the Yahoo event. I'm not sure, but there was one time we did a tour at Paisley Park, and I didn't know what he meant by this because I thought it was like two different ways. I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, but he said this, and I got it afterwards. He said to the people, because I was giving the tours at Paisley Park, and he would have me call him upstairs while on the phone and put him on speakerphone. And so he would talk to the fans while I called him on the landline.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
he asked so he asked the people that were there, and it was a room full of people in Studio B. He said, "Would you guys have known there was another producer if we didn't tell you?" I thought he was like, I thought I was getting Prince in a way where he was saying to me, "Yeah, nobody would have known if you did this if I didn't tell him." You know what I mean? So, but I didn't, but afterwards, I got it, and it was a compliment. He was saying to me
Yeah.
that people would have thought he did it if
Mhm.
no one told, if no one told him that someone else did. Would you
Yeah.
guys have thought there was another producer? Basically, it sounded like I did it. And I was like, whoa. And then another thing he said
Yeah.
is, and this one is, I think, is an interview. He said, Josh hears music like I do. So hearing things like
Mm.
that, that one, I think we can, that's online. And when I heard him, I didn't hear him say it when he said it, but I read it afterwards because I wasn't with him when
Yeah.
he did his interview. Um,
Well, I think personally, when I heard both those albums, I was like, this is an interesting take because it did sound different than what Prince would
yeah,
normally do. And you're right. If he hadn't like put your name on there or anything or told anybody, then everybody would have been like, what is changing within Prince? And I also feel, this might be a tangent. I also feel like that reverence that you say that it's kind of important to have. Um, it can kind of go a step far when it comes to the Prince community, wherein
yeah,
anything that Prince does is perfection and is perfect, and
yeah,
anything that Prince doesn't do is trash. You know,
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah,
so I feel like any negativity that goes towards those albums is basically kind of falling in that latter category, in my opinion. Because
yeah,
I feel that those albums fit really well overall into Prince's catalog, and also because this was also something I said, and you tell me, I guess, if this is true. But for me, it
mhm,
felt also kind of like you said, more of a collaboration, kind of a sharing of ideas, kind of Prince saying, "This is how I do it," but then you kind of coming in and saying like, "And this is how I do it," and your stuff is more like a little bit more modern, his stuff a little bit more old school. Like, were there any times where he was like, "Yeah, yeah, Josh, you're right. That is actually a good thing," like.
Well, I think, like I said, it went from critique to collaboration. I had to
Yeah,
learn the Prince way in order for me to even contribute, and the Prince
yeah,
way, I would say, is obviously, pretty, it's high. It's Prince. So that took some time. And as I continued to, obviously, it's the humbling experience and the privilege, if you may, to learn from
yeah,
somebody like that. It took some time, but it was progressive. So it wasn't like we stayed
yeah.
in one area for a long time, because you couldn't be like that around him. You had to keep moving.
Mm,
Otherwise, you would weed yourself out because you weren't contributing anymore. And so he wasn't about dragging people, but he was about yanking people and saying, "You're gonna stay here, and if you're gonna want to be here, you're gonna have to, pick it up." And so that's really what,
yeah,
um, he didn't want to force the growth, but over time, we did. I remember one time, man. Oh man, this is one of my favorite times in the studio with him. One of the songs didn't even get released, but another one of the songs got kind of blurted out, but I don't think the full version did. Him and I were in the studio till like 5, 6 in the morning, working on a Rita Ora song, "Single Most Amazing Thing in the Room," and I'm
Mhm.
telling you, it was so much fun. Where I say, "All right, this right here," and then he'd be like, "All right, get it." It was like kids. We were literally making this track and had so much fun. And man, I think that was it. Was when I think about that moment, man, I mean, it was just it wasn't like Prince and Josh. It was like two college students or something. It felt like
Yeah.
where we were just like, "Yo," you know what I mean? It was great, man. So yeah, I think that, he was open to my ideas, but if he had an idea, I never tried to force anything else. He would just ask me how I felt and I'd just be honest. But a lot of times something like the gold standard, he brought in the production um of that song with the Lindrums period, right?
Mm.
And so there was no 808s, there were no just the whole beginning was different. And so he would just kind of tell me like, hey, you do whatever you feel. I did. And I remember him telling me, I think that was one of the tracks. He said, "I did what I want to do with that, you do what you want with that, just take it from there." And so there were sometimes he would give me, more than just words, and he would give me tracks to work on, and things like that, to collab with, you know what I mean? But a lot of times
Yeah.
he wasn't in the room for that. I'd just send it back to him.
Yeah. Man, just hearing you recount that story made it just lit me up. And like it just sounds like that was
Yeah,
amazing. Like I can picture it from you telling me.
yeah, yeah. It was such a beautiful time, man. I mean, we had so much. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was just fun. I think there's no other word I can say. It was just real fun.
Well, Ed, this is a question that I always ask everybody from the Prince
Yeah.
camp that comes on my channel. Um, which is your favorite Prince album from his entire catalog? Can't be one that you worked on or
Uh
was
huh.
around during that time. But what was your favorite Prince album and why?
The song "Pop Life" was, before I met him, was one of my favorite songs. Period.
Mm, all right.
And because of the lyric when it says, "Was it a boy when you wanted a girl?"
Mm,
Because my mother, I'm one of six
oh
boys,
gosh.
and she tried basically from the fourth, fifth, and sixth. She tried, even got a name made, just believing, just wanting a girl, and she named that girl Azaria. And so obviously 16 years later, plus I think it was, that Azaria was in the family. But when
Nice.
Hannah and I had our first baby, we named her Azaria. So
Oh,
yeah. So Pop Life, and I go by songs because Pop
and
Life and If I Was Your Girlfriend was one of my favorite joints. So I mean, I can't really pick too hard, but Purple Rain was also one of my favorites too, because for me, any song that had a spiritual hint to it, because I grew up in church, I was always about, like, when he said, "I'm your Messiah," like, and
yeah.
yeah. So when he would do that live,
Hmm.
and "You're the reason why, because I would die for you," like, "I would die for you," that song. He would say live when we were around, "He's your Messiah." So those
Yeah.
songs spoke to me the most. So I think that I kind of cheated and didn't answer like perfectly, but I gave you songs, not albums, I guess.
No, I think that
Yeah.
that works out just fine. It appears that you are a fan of the mid '80s Prince. So we're just gonna say mid '80s Prince. Kind of that's the box that we're kind of putting that answer in
Yeah,
there.
but there are tracks like "Sexy Dancer." The track on that, I have a story on that. So
Mm,
we're jamming, yo. We're jamming. I'm talking about Third Eye Girl. I'm here with Prince. And it's like when I say Third Eye Girl, I'm thinking about, we talked about Third Eye Girl as in all of us. You know what I mean? So Prince, Hannah, Ida, Donna, myself, we
hmm.
were all jamming, and I'm on the keys. Prince is on a guitar, Donna's on a guitar, and so forth. Hannah's on drums. We're rocking out, And then he gets on the keys and he's playing. I'm like, woo, we're jamming. I'm like, yo, this is hot. And I said, this is flame. I said, you got to put this out. I said, what is this song? He said, Sexy Dancer. I was like, so I mean, like I said, I've been a big fan of his songs, man, and I didn't really know too many of his songs like that. And our sister
Yeah.
Tia Stasko, she's actually been helping me out on that still. Because I mean, I'm telling you, man, I was so much, and I don't want to sound disrespectful, or I don't want to sound like I'm not really just being respectful toward the blessing that it was, but I was so much more into him than I was the music, man.
Yeah.
And so that's who I miss the most. You know what I mean? As far as the jam sessions, they were fun, but honestly, the conversation, bro, that's
Yeah.
where the heart is at. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes perfect sense. I'm out of questions. So
Yeah.
I kind of did have here. I wasn't sure if you maybe wanted to talk a little bit about what you have been doing for the last 4 years. I know that you
Okay.
guys started a ministry. I
Yes.
know that you've been having some kids. Did you
Yes.
want to talk a little bit about that and kind of what you've been doing, since you were in Princess Camp and up to now?
Yes. So immediately after Prince passed away, my wife and I, honestly, we went into family mode and just soaked in that, and we were approached many a times to do whether it be interviews, performances, but we just didn't feel like it was time yet. And so we just kind of stayed quiet and raised a family. So we had Azaria, we had my second son, Sovereign Prince, and he was born on Prince's birthday. And
Oh,
then my third is a Genesis, and she was just this past May 14th, 2020. And what we did musically is sync music. So behind the scenes, Funk and Roll was on Empire. And so there's a guy named Joe Rangel who Phaedra introduced me to, and basically helped keep the lights on for the last 4 years. We did sync music. So people may not have known, but they've been bobbing their heads to our music here and there, whether it be on a commercial or a trailer
oh, very cool.
or in a television show. So we've been on television shows, like I said, and so forth with our music behind the scenes. And so that's what we've been doing is sync music. So we've definitely been working on music, and
Yeah.
that's really what's been paying the bills. And so then from there, we started a ministry, and so did a virtual church. So we're an online church. We've been doing that for the last 2 years. Your Will Be Done Ministries. I got ordained January of 2018, I believe it was.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm an ordained minister, and my wife and I have been pastoring this online church, and we enjoy it so much. And we've been going live for the last 2 years on Tuesdays. I think we're on 110th episode, so we've been going live for a while.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and we're also going live on Instagram at YWBDMIN, and that's what we've been doing, brother.
Very cool. I'm going to put some links to your ministry as well down in the
Okay. Oh,
description.
thank you.
If anybody who wants to
Yeah.
go check that out, definitely.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, man.
Appreciate it.
No, definitely. Thank you so much for being here. I mean,
Thank you.
honestly, this again, you were kind of somebody I wanted to interview anyway, so it
Yeah.
was nice to actually get the opportunity, and
Thank you.
paths align in a certain way. That's how life works.